Why is it that the moment she starts pulling away, your mind immediately jumps to the worst possible scenarios? You're texting her, and the responses get shorter. The phone calls become less frequent. Those long conversations that used to flow effortlessly now feel forced, strained. And here's the thing. What you do in the next 24 hours will either save this situation or destroy it completely. But first, let me tell you about the biggest mistake 90% of guys make that guarantees she'll pull away even further. If you're watching this right now, chances are why is it that the moment she starts pulling away, your mind immediately jumps to the worst possible scenarios? You're texting her, and the responses get shorter. The phone calls become less frequent. Those long conversations that used to flow effortlessly now feel forced, strained. And here's the thing. What you do in the next 24 hours will either save this situation or destroy it completely. But first, let me tell you about the biggest mistake 90% of guys make that guarantees she'll pull away even further. If you're watching this right now, chances are you're experiencing exactly this situation. She's pulling away and you have no idea what to do about it. Your instinct is probably telling you to chase harder, to text more, to demand answers. And I need to warn you, this instinct feels right, but it's actually the relationship killer I'm going to expose in just a moment. But before I reveal why chasing pushes her away, you need to understand the psychology behind why women pull away in the first place. Because once you understand this, everything else I'm about to teach you will make perfect sense. And trust me, you're going to need both pieces of this puzzle to handle this correctly. Think about it. When someone starts creating distance, what's your natural response? You want to close that gap immediately. You want to fix whatever's broken. You want to return to the way things were before she started acting different. But here's what's fascinating. This response reveals something about male psychology that most guys never realize about themselves. The truth is, when a woman starts pulling away, it's rarely about something you did wrong in that moment. It's usually about something deeper. But your brain doesn't want to accept that explanation, does it? Your brain wants a clear cause and effect. And this is where Now here's where it gets critical. Your response to all three types should actually be the same, but for completely different psychological reasons. And if you get this wrong, you'll push her from type 1 or 2 straight into type 3. But if you get it right, you'll actually become more attractive regardless of which type you're dealing with. Here's what typically happens when most guys face this situation. She starts pulling away, so you start pursuing harder. You double down on attention, affection, and availability. You become more reactive to her moods, more eager to please, more desperate to maintain the connection. And this creates a psychological trap that's almost impossible to escape from. Why does this happen? Because attraction isn't logical. But there's something even more important than understanding attraction. You need to understand the concept of emotional investment. And this is where most dating advice gets it completely wrong. When she pulls away and you respond by pursuing harder, you're essentially communicating that your emotional state depends entirely on her behavior. But here's the part that no one talks about. You're also removing all of her emotional investment in the situation. Think about it. If you're doing all the chasing, all the initiating, all the emotional labor, what is she investing? Nothing. And when someone has no investment in something, they don't value it. This is basic human psychology, but it's the opposite of what your instincts tell you to do in this moment. So, what should you do instead? The answer might surprise you because it goes against every instinct you have. But before I tell you the exact strategy, you need to understand why this works on a neurological level. Because if you don't understand the why, you'll execute the strategy wrong, and it'll backfire. The most powerful thing you can do when she starts pulling away is to create what I call reverse investment. This doesn't mean playing games or trying to manipulate her emotions. It means returning to the version of yourself that was attractive to her in the first place. But there's a specific way to do this that most guys mess up. Think back to the beginning of your relationship or your dating dynamic. What were you like then? You had your own interests, your own social life, your own sense of purpose that existed independently of her. You probably weren't checking your phone every 5 minutes waiting for her response. That version of you was attractive because you were whole on your own. But here's the crucial part that separates this from just giving her space. You need to understand the three-phase process that's happening in her mind when you execute this correctly. Phase 1 is confusion. She expected you to chase, but you didn't. Phase 2 is curiosity. She starts wondering what you're doing and why you're not pursuing her. Phase 3 is investment. She starts reaching out to figure out what's happening. Now, during phase 1 and 2, this is where most guys panic and go back to chasing. They think it's not working because she hasn't immediately come running back, but you have to let the process complete itself. This requires something most men struggle with in dating: patience and confidence in your own value. This approach accomplishes several psychological triggers simultaneously. First, it removes the pressure she might be feeling. When someone is pulling away, constant pursuit can feel suffocating. By stepping back, you give her room to breathe and figure out what she's really feeling. But more importantly, you're forcing her to invest energy into figuring out your behavior. Second, it reactivates her uncertainty about you. And uncertainty, when combined with attraction, creates obsession. She went from being sure you'd always be available to wondering if you're losing interest. This uncertainty makes her mind focus on you more, not less. But here's where it gets really interesting. This strategy only works if you're genuinely improving your own life during this period. You can't fake this part. If you're sitting at home obsessing over her while pretending to be busy, she'll sense it. But if you're actually reconnecting with friends, pursuing goals, and becoming genuinely fulfilled, that authenticity is magnetic. The key is understanding that this isn't about becoming cold or distant. When you do interact with her, you need to be genuinely warm and interested, but not needy. Don't ask why she's been distant. Don't try to have deep conversations about the relationship status. Just be the best version of yourself and let her experience what she's been missing. This approach requires genuine confidence, not the fake kind that's actually insecurity in disguise. And here's the beautiful part. Even if she doesn't come back, you'll be in a much better place. You'll have strengthened your own life and demonstrated self-respect. But when this strategy works, and it works more often than you'd think, here's what happens. She starts to miss the connection. She realizes what she might be losing. She begins investing energy into reconnecting with you. And suddenly, you're back in a position of strength rather than desperation. The next time she starts pulling away, remember this process. Don't chase. Don't panic. Don't abandon yourself in pursuit of someone else. Instead, become so focused on your own growth that she can't help but notice what she's missing. That's how you handle it when she starts pulling away. That's how you win, regardless of the outcome.